This conference will now be recorded.
Welcome to Dr. TSPR show. This is Dr. Tangella Shiva Prasad Reddy alias Dr. TSPR. Namaste, Adab, hello, and a warm welcome to my Guru Professor K. Purushottam Reddy Garu and Guru Tulyulu B.V. Subbarao Garu. And an important topic, World Rivers Day. How can we forget them? We have been doing regular shows depicting the nature and the symbiosis of humans with nature. Only then a responsible or a safe living happens. Are we doing that under the guise of our selfish motives or whatever you say, forgetting that tomorrow our kith and kin have to survive? Are we leaving anything for them? మనమే ఆఖరి కాదు కదా, మన పిల్లలకి మనం వదులుతున్నామా మన స్వార్థంతోన? ప్రకృతి సహజ సిద్ధమైనటువంటి జీవితాన్ని గడుపుతున్నామా? అందు గురించే ఈరోజు షో కిల్లింగ్ ఆఫ్ రివర్స్. నదులను చంపడం ద్వారా మనం ఏ విధంగా మన జీవనాన్ని ముందుకు కొనసాగించబోతున్నామా, మన పిల్లలకి ఏమైనా వదులుతున్నామా అనేదే ఈరోజు ముఖ్యాంశం. ఆర్ వి గోయింగ్ టు save something and preserve something, or for that matter initiate measures to restore so that our kith and kin can live or lead a happy life? If you go on killing the rivers, and we have taken some examples in Telangana, because Kaleswaram is going to be a biggest dam in the world and maybe the biggest dash dash, as my guru has already referred. When I was about to do a show on Kaleswaram and political, he shouted at me, "What the hell you are doing? Project facts, environment, and living. Is it not the?" When I said disaster, no, correct yourself. You know proper English. Say that it is the biggest catastrophe of the world, and we have recorded there when he sent me the link. Like that, we have seen in Krishna, other region, that is Arpanam, Krishna Arpanam. They don't talk. And then the Hyderabad Musi. What is happening to Musi? And all those very good rivulets, lakes, nalas. If you go on encroaching, destroying them, how would be our life? So before I show something, a word from both of them, then I'll show you some pictures, and straight away we'll get into the discussion. Yes, Anna.
So thank you so much, Dr. Prasad Reddy Garu, and I welcome all the participants, viewers. Namaste, Purushottam Reddy Garu.
Namaste.
Tomorrow the world claims it is celebrating the Rivers Day. But for me, tomorrow everybody should conduct a condolence meeting of the dying rivers. You see, these rivers were there much earlier than the human beings. They have witnessed the very evolution of human beings, right from the early inception of the human beings, transforming from the apes, Stone Age, Iron Age, whatever age, to till this date of Cyber Age. It's not that we discovered these rivers. It is these rivers which were continuously, constantly feeding the entire human civilization in sustaining their survival and progressing economically. It's not only, supporting the very lives of the human beings, it's supporting the entire living creatures on this earth. But what is happening to it? Right from the dawn of civilization, the so-called civilization, and the growth of science and technologies, we were trying very sincerely and hard to cut down the umbilical cord from our river systems. We feel we are so independent. We can live without water, we can live without the air, without all that arrogance and indifferent attitude that went into the minds of human beings. The result is today the cities which flourished on the river banks, they suffered for want of water, and today they are experiencing the floods. Be it New Delhi, Hyderabad, Bangalore, Mumbai, Chennai, you name it. Why it is happening so? And how do we understand the growth of development? And how do we understand the behavior and dynamics of a river system? I am not talking anything from an emotional angle. These rivers, which nurtured the civilizations, we have a lot to learn from the river system. I always used to tell, you know, there are great things that we can learn from the river system. It is nothing but it's a manifestation of the human life. It comes out through the womb of the Mother Earth as a spring at the origin of the river. You take any river, it is the springs which come out of the earth, like a human being coming out of mother's womb. It comes with a force. It moves with a force on those high altitude hillocks. And it creates rapids, it creates waterfalls. The way you run at your young days, childhood, and an youth. The waterfalls, the energy, it moves on to the plains, like how you move in your middle age with a lot of responsibilities on your shoulders and mind. Ultimately, it joins the sea with a sluggish movement, leaving all the fertile soil at the delta areas. Like every human being wants to leave something for his next generation, whatever little he has saved in his life. The river also makes an attempt to leave all the fertile soil at the delta areas, which are the baskets of food grain all over the world. It's not only in India. It gives an opportunity if you coolly think and watch, observe the river system. It inspires you, motivates to develop and inculcate a sense of sharing, sense of sacrifice. Are we learning this? Nature is a great teacher. What is that we are learning from the river systems? Nothing. River connects the people, river connects the cultures, river connects the human beings. It doesn't recognize the geopolitical borders. You need not go into look into Nepal and India, where 32 rivers origin from Himalayas and flow into India, Can they stop Nepalians, Nepal government, all those 32 rivers? No. It connects three different cultures. Nepal, which was an Hindu kingdom, India with majority Hindu culture, and a Bangladesh, which is a Islamic culture right now, but it has its own blending. How it is taking all this? Can't we learn this? Can't we create a cultural and religious harmony on this earth? We are all depending on these rivers. Unfortunately, what we have learned is at the youth stage of the river, we want to tap the kinetic energy produced hydropower stations. And we don't care where we are developing this. Is it a feasible stage place, or is it a fragile system like Himalayas, where more than 200 hydroelectric mini power stations were created, and today we are facing the disasters. Part of the hillocks after the hillocks are washing away in the floods, avalanches. Our neighborhood, the Pakistan, faced 3 months the floods, and the report is it is because of climate change and snow melting. Whether it is climate change or snow melting, it is the human being Anthropocene activities. Rampantly, we are, you know, rupturing the ecosystems. Limits has the growth. Even if I serve you unlimited meals, it takes only whatever you can consume. You can't eat the entire, whatever I cooked. We need to respect the limits of the growth, limits of the geological sites, limits of the geographical sites. We should appreciate and promote in tune with the nature that nothing to do with geopolitical boundaries. We are the Homo sapiens. We are one race. We should all stand for promoting the nature, conserving the nature's resources. And the primary resource where the human civilization started, like your Mohenjo-daro, Harappa, it is the river valley civilizations. Many river valley civilizations vanished, they flourished and vanished. Yes, whenever we reach the peak of economic growth, the luxury starts entering into your mind. You don't care about the neighborhood, fellow beings, resources. Our attitude changes, our perception and perspectives changes. We all look at the resources as for the monetary gains. And we develop a new menu card. Land, 1 yard, 3 lakh rupees. Air, one cylinder, 2000 rupees. Water, 1 liter bottle, 40 rupees. What is this? Did we make anything this? Did we spend our science and technology and brains to create water? We have failed utterly to treat the water. We have utterly failed in understanding the river basins. We started looking into the rivers as a big commodity. What to tap, where to tap, how to tap. Its kinetic energy at the beginning is our hydroelectricity. In the plain areas, we thought, We can create navigation, we can promote agriculture. We have butchered the grasslands at many places. The soils of the grasslands are not fit for agriculture. Every soil is not fit for wetland cultivation, like paddy. Every soil has its own. The river system, which starts at an high altitudes and joins the sea at a zero level contour, creates biodiversity because it enjoys geoclimatic diversity right from its origin to merger. Did we learn anything from this? Are we appreciating? Do we have the patience for the tolerance? Why we are creating all these things? River. Why we worship the rivers in this country? Even in Egypt, they do it. Why? Because they teach us so much. It's not that we are today all our cultural practices have become mere rituals. Gangamma Jatara, take a beautiful air conditioned car, go there and create a traffic jam. Huh? And Godavari Pushkaram, 32 people died in the stampede. Is it not the madness? How do we reciprocate? Is a big challenge. Everywhere we want to construct, we want to, create obstacles to the river flow and claim to create that we have created irrigation systems, we have created this, we have created that. And most challenging thing is in Bihar, we have the paddy seed variety where it grows in under the flood inundated waters. Has anybody carried out any research on this? No. Everybody wants to dam, everybody wants to impound the waters as if they can manage it. Is it not the abuse of the river systems? More so, we are killing the river systems through pesticide application in the agricultural systems. Ultimately, it has to go to the river. Are we thinking of this? In spite of so much, surface water resources, abundant surface water resources, this country mismanaged the river systems and dried several small streams and tributaries. You know why the reason? We have overpumped the groundwater and killed the base flows in the streams and tributaries. And we have successfully polluted the groundwater. As if it's a 21st century discovery, Parliament places this that 80% of the groundwater is contaminated and 100% of the river water is contaminated. Then what I am to do? I am not here to hear the statistics from your honorable, platforms of Parliament and Assembly, Rajya Sabha. The so-called Rajya Sabha is supposed to be with intellectuals, scientists, technocrats, policy makers. It has become a backdoor entry for all the disgruntled and non-popular political personalities to step into the Rajya Sabha so that they can vote and ensure the safe passage of the bill. Is it not a insult to the democracy? Is it the way we are treating our river systems and the natural systems? At least tomorrow, please think of it on this day of the World River Day. What is that we can do? What is that we can learn? It's not the money. 5,000 crores have been granted for Ganges. I am sure these STPs and others will not conserve and protect the river systems. How we are going about it? For every irrigation project, we have created another scam. Be it Hasdoa project in Madhya Pradesh, across the Mahanadi, and probably Nagarjuna Sagar and Sri Srisalam. You know, that was the beginning of our, the spirit of independence and commitment to the patriotism was high in those days. But I'm sure people might have made something or the other. And today, how do we look at this? How do we take this? The entire information is opaque. World largest lift irrigation project, Kaleswaram. After everything, after the damage happened, catastrophe happened, people are dying, backwater flows 100 kilometers back. It's a new record. Okay. And this entire project was conceived to take the surplus waters which are flowing from Pranahita into Godavari, fill already filled reservoirs. That is the beauty of this project. It doesn't have any. Uh, you'd like to explain these things? Yeah. కాళేశ్వరం గుదిబండ దించాల్సింది కేంద్రమే. మరి దించాల్సింది కేంద్రమే అయినప్పుడు why that they were so mute during the construction? And today the newspaper Kaleshwaram, the finance minister says now it's a big burden and center has to find a solution. Having sunk 1,20,000 crores, the center opens up her mind. Why the people of this country are kept in dark? Why can't we have a white paper on for any project once it is conceived, that what is the share of central government, what is the role and responsibility of state, central and local governing bodies on that particular project? What are the responsibilities of the central government? What are the things it needs to clear for that project? How much they are going to spend, or they do not want to spend any money on it? Does only the state government is bringing the money for this project? If so, what are the sources? We have taken loans, 8% loan and 10.9% loan from nationalized banks. Did we take a resolution or a referendum from the people that we are taking so much of loan from these banks? I think it is time for us to make some reforms into the democratic system. One, how do we save, conserve and protect the river systems, our resources? I am once again saying it is our resources. These are public resources. How come with public resources, an elected governance will take all due advantage of it just because they have some majority? No, sir, you cannot. There should be a referendum before you going to the loans. And today, a government says, I do not know, I have no words to say that. We need not take any permissions. And in Hyderabad, some 3 months back, the retired engineers of this state, they organized a open meeting and said, We have received all the permissions from the central government, including CWC. We have the video records for that. Is it not a shame? On one hand, the government retired engineers say we obtained all the permissions. Please put it in the public domain, which are the permissions you have received for this river system, for this project. And government also has the responsibility to place why, under what circumstances, conditions, it need not take permissions from the central government for a huge project of 1,20,000 crores. Point number one, who gives the permissions, who takes the permissions, who applies for the permissions, and who gets the financial loans, on what interest? Do they have uh, consent of the citizens towards this? This is most important. I feel today all the like-minded people, like-minded citizens uh, who have at least 2% of patriotism come forward and discuss on these issues. Same thing in the Twin Reservoirs case in the High Court. The government submits that why they have lifted GO 111 is not they have no interest in developing real estate there. They are worried about the drinking water issue of the city because these two twin reservoirs are not able to cater to the needs of the present population. किसे हौला बनाते हैं? Is it that the entire 1 crore population of Hyderabad is depending on these two, Usman Sagar and Himayat Sagar? The capacity of the Usman Sagar and Himayat Sagar can only give up to maximum to 10 lakhs, not more than that. I have my own doubts because the reservoirs were constructed to control the floods, not to give the water. And shameless, the state government submits in the High Court that um, uh, it was for the drinking water, and now it doesn't serve the purpose. I have no words to discuss and argue on these things. River systems have become money making raw material, and people have become dumb. The silence in the people will kill the civilization. It's not the river floods, I am saying. These rivers are cursing us for our silence. Musi River, it is the only river we have which originates in this state and merges with Krishna in this state. Anybody, it's a common sense that whenever we shift or allot an chemical industry, we look for abundance of water resources because the chemical industry needs that. We are shifting all the sick chemical and pharmaceutical industries to the origin catchment of Musi. No discussion. And everybody says, today the river projects have become not a point of discussion on sustainable development growth and sustainable conservation. I also suggest, not I'm suggesting strongly through this channel that let us, dump all those river water boats. We have to create water user boats on river systems. Let people come forward, the users, the stakeholders, how we want to conserve this water, how we want to conserve the river system, and how we want to utilize this. Today, the river water systems has become a point of politics. It's not, I have regard for politics. So I say it has become a point of dirty politics. It's a blaming game. So this is the situation where we are heading to. We need to think it very, uh, and interestingly, we get a lot of people who can twist it. They say, since central government has given the sanction, central government has to take the burden. Array, why? You are pushing the people into confusion. You have no right. You have no right, sir. We have bring it clear to the people right from conceiving the project, even before the designing. Everything must be placed on white paper in public domain. People have a right. People have the right to question the viability of the projects. The country has 71% of literacy, and we are not dumbos sitting here. We do have experience. Let us have an open discussion. It's my challenge. All the retired so-called engineers, we are still going around the secretariat for some kind of a petty jobs and consultations. It's my challenge. Please come forward. Let's have the debate. Let us save our rivers. Okay. These rivers, if we neglect through our indifferent attitudes, what is this? We need to think very seriously. We have to come forward, shell down all our differences. These rivers nurtured the civilizations for centuries. We need to sustain their healthy ecosystem so that they will support for infinitely the coming generations. I don't say, I am not a political man, say 100 years, 50 years, whatever I am doing the project. No. In time and space, these rivers have to stay healthy, productive, and support healthy societies. So, once again, I thank Dr. Shivprasad Reddy Garu for this. We need to bring out, we need to ask government, we need to sensitize people on this. And this is the picture, Kallu Teravaru, Kallu Kullu Chudaru. It is in 2017 when I visited the Perki Cheru, where the foam was generating. I cautioned the government that no sooner this foam will come to Hussain Sagar, and it was touching since 2020, and today the situation is this. Yes, we have no respect for water resources. Let us stop talking projects on the water. Let us think of how we can purify our waters and how we can conserve our waters and how we can give back the glory to our river systems. They are our mothers. We still continue our umbilical cord with this. It's not that in the cyber age we do not want the river water or water. We need water. We need our mother. So we need to rectify this. We need to recreate an healthy umbilical cord with the river systems and take care of our river mothers. Thank you so much.
Sir, thank you very much. Mr. Purushottam Reddy garu, because Hyderabad Democracy Forum, under the aegis of both my gurus, we are doing a wonderful showed today. I hope Purushottam Reddy garu will try to connect them all the joints so that wisdom will prevail, not just on the rulers, administrators, and politicians, but also people should become aware. People should become concerned citizens. Yes, Anna.
Yeah, 1 second. Yeah, at the outset, I would like to express my deep sense of gratitude to B.V. Subbarao Garu, who is a very well-known international expert when it comes to understanding the rivers or study of the rivers, river water behavior, and ultimately how Anthropocene or human activity has impacted the rivers worldwide. At the outset, I wish to recall some of the most famous rivers of the world. We have the Amazon River. Regarding Amazon, I always say that this is Amazon and the forest which is associated there, the Brazilian forest. It can be described as the oxygen mask of the planet Earth. It is the biggest rainmaker, and it is said of Amazon River that even after the river joins the oceans, up to 100 kilometers from the mouth of what we call the delta, from the point where the river joins the ocean, from there up to 100 kilometers, the ocean water will be fresh water. Such is the flow of the volume of the river. What are we doing to Amazon today? We are destroying the forest. We are converting the forest ecosystem into grasslands. And then we are going in for cattle ranching, setting up slaughterhouses, manufacturing burgers to be exported to Europe and America, and looking at the few dollars, they think that is development. Well, the same is happening worldwide. I have been to Mississippi, and there also it is the same position. Anyway, we come to Nile. Nile is the world's supposed to be one of the lengthiest, and I'm sure next to 10, 20 years there will be real water wars with regards to the utilization of Nile. Because naturally, everybody needs water. Earlier it was only Egypt, but now Ethiopia, Eritrea, almost all the countries upstream of Egypt, they also need water, and therefore they are building huge dams. And in a way, it is good, but on very special occasions, we never know the climate change and its behavior, its impact, and the rising temperatures. So, definitely, there will be wars when it comes to utilization of water. We come to India, and all of us, I think we are all hypocrites, we the people of this country. Whenever we see water, we call it Ganga. And then we do all the rituals, paying our respects to Ganga. But in reality, we the people of this country, we are so hypocritic that we are the biggest polluters in the entire world. The Ganga river is one of the most polluted river in the entire world. And believe me, in addition to the industries, you have all the urban areas, all the towns and the big cities, including Delhi. All the lawmakers are in Delhi, right? And even the Supreme Court is there. What is their big contribution to the protection of River Ganga? And Ganga if there is a demand that it should be recognized legally as a living entity and therefore it has a right to exist. Similarly, in Australia, already Australia has recognized the right of the river to exist. Now, there is a growing demand worldwide that these ecosystems have to be recognized because they are an entity unto themselves. They are, that is why the entire planet Earth, which is, the sum total of all the ecosystems. In other words, there is a beautiful symbiotic connection between each ecosystem. And ultimately, the planet Earth itself looks as if it is a living entity. And that is why our ancient Greeks, they called it as Gaia. Gaia means G-A-I-A. G-A-I-A. So what is the meaning of that? They say it is a living entity. మన దగ్గర కూడా భూమాత అంటారు, ధరిత్రి. బట్ దెన్ మనం ఒట్టిగా ఏదో రిచువల్గా అంటాం కానీ వీ రియలీ డోంట్ హ్యావ్ దట్ కన్సర్న్ అండ్ వీ డోంట్ ఈవెన్ హ్యావ్ దట్ కన్సర్న్ టు రెస్పెక్ట్. We have moved away. When I say we the people of the entire world, particularly in India, because this is where the most destruction is happening. And here we have moved away. Once upon a time, in this country, our ancients, when they used to get up in the morning to place their foot on the soil, నేల మీద కాలు పెట్టనీకే, లేచినాక మంచం మీదకి వెళ్ళి కాలు కింద పెట్టనీకే, they would recite a sloka seeking the permission of the Mother Earth. And that is Samudra Vasane Devi Parvatasana Mandale Vishnu Patni Namastubhyam Padasparsham Kshamakshami. Kindly forgive me, Mother. I have no choice. I need to get up. I need to do my activities. And therefore I need to walk. And that is why I am placing my foot. And this is the sloka which was recited by P.V. Narasimha Rao in 1992 Rio Conference. Rio Conference la ide sloka ఆయన చెప్పి మొత్తం ప్రపంచాన్ని కన్విన్స్ చేశాం. But the question is what are we doing? Okay, now we fast forward, we need to go a little further. We are, our sum total of, ఇంతకుముందు సుబ్బారావు గారు చెప్పినట్టు, మనం ఏం చేస్తున్నామంటే వీఆర్ ఓన్లీ పాయిజనింగ్ ద రివర్స్. ఇది పొల్యూటింగ్ అనే వర్డ్ కూడా మంచిగా సరిపోతలేదు దానికి. ఇట్ ఈస్ యాక్చువల్లీ పాయిజనింగ్ ద రివర్ విత్ ఎ వెంజియన్స్ అండ్ కిల్లింగ్ ఇట్. గంగా ఈజ్ అవుట్. వాట్ అబౌట్ మూసీ? All the pharma industries, all the garbage and the drainage and the sewage and and from every home, from the bathrooms of every home, every hotel, every hostel, what is it that gets into the river? And what is the big effectiveness of the STPs? That is a scam by itself. There is no independent audit about the working of the STPs. Nobody knows what is the actual cost of the STP, to what extent they are functional, what is the input and what is the output. But then public money is being simply given out. So we need to understand that we the people under Article 51AG, we have a duty to protect the environment. Now the biggest what we call dichotomy is, on one side the Constitution says that it is we the people who need to protect. Now what are the big facilities that are available for the people of this country to protect the environment? Now let us assume activists or people concerned with the problems of degradation of environment. Suppose, let us assume that they spend a lot of time, they do research, they make field visits, they are in touch with the affected people, and then they file a public interest litigation. Let us also assume that that particular PIL is admitted and they take their own sweet time, sometimes 10 years, 20 years. Only a few directions are forthcoming. But ultimately, what is the big tragedy, that these directions of all the courts in this country, I'm talking about the district court, the high court, and the Supreme Court, in addition to the newly created NGTs, National Green Tribunals. I can tell you, friends, they go on giving some directions, right, which are ignored by an ordinary IAS officer at the state level, maybe a senior person who is called as the chief secretary. How come the chief secretary ignore the directions of the Supreme Court? Then what is the Supreme Court doing? Why is it not punishing the chief secretary? Well, these are larger issues. I leave it to the Supreme Court to ponder, and I'm sure our dynamic new Chief Justice will do the needed justice. Okay, I go again fast forward. What are the factors that are destroying the different rivers in this country? I'm always very appreciative of Subbarao Garu because he has done a lot of work on the mouth of the river, where the rivers originate, and respecting his knowledge in that particular field, I would like to add to what he has said, or he has already mentioned, but I would also repeat. Number one, the factors that are destroying the rivers are: number one, deforestation. He has mentioned about the run of the river projects, right? For the purpose of generating hydropower. And imagine the Himalayas, the narrow valleys, and there to build these hydel projects, they have built guard roads, they have gone in for tunneling, and without any understanding of the delicate and finite ecosystems. The Himalayas are a much later, they came into being much later than the other mountain ranges in the world. And still the Himalayas, the mountains are not stabilized. They are weak structures, and our people, without understanding what development is, they have, the greedy engineers and the contractors, plus the local ministers for irrigation, and the political parties' understanding of the paradigm of development, because they think that is the development. That is, they think going in for the run of the river projects, utilizing the flow of the river, generating electricity, and then they think that particular is the development, that particular model. But they don't understand what they have never evaluated the environmental impact assessment. What would be its impact on the delicate ecosystem? And what in the event of some cave in, as what happened 2 days ago or maybe yesterday? Every day in the Himalayas, every day there is a news about the land masses and landslides, popularly known as. So that is impacting the river. Not only India, please. The point is not only India. We have the same thing happening in the Pak occupied Kashmir, which is right now under Pakistan. And then we have the mighty China, which is trying to divert whole river ecosystems, and other countries which are directly connected to the Himalayas. And what I have always been mentioning is Himalayas cannot be protected by one single country. As already pointed out, so many rivers originate. We are talking about rivers, but to protect the rivers, we need to talk about the ecosystem. And the Himalayas are wonderful. They are in the domain of several sovereign states, and because they are all neighbors, because of misunderstandings, they are at loggerheads. There have been India-China wars, India-Pakistan wars. In such a situation, can the United Nations expect a common action for the protection of the Himalayas? Okay, it's not going to happen. Then what is the United Nations doing? Did they ever come up because we have been demanding that the United Nations Trusteeship Council should take over the wonderful ecosystems that lie or that are there in extended into several sovereign states. For example, the North Pole, the South Pole, the Amazon, the Brazilian forest, and then the Himalayas. Wonderful. And even there should be some mechanism created. We are, come on, we are how many years? 77 years into the working of UN, and still we have not done our needed homework. A few reports have been good, a few global conferences UN has organized, but that is still inadequate. So United Nations should be reformed, and it should tighten its belt to protect the planet Earth and its different ecosystems. Just a few more points. The crisis today is because of the present paradigm of development. Political parties in all the countries are right now in the grip of the corporates. At least, till 1991, we could say that we had a Soviet bloc dedicated to socialism or communism. America was dedicated to capitalism and democracy. But today, everywhere in the world, you have the rich and the powerful and the mighty coming together, forming a nexus and trying to usurp, take possession of the public commons, because the greediness of the corporates, it will never get reduced, and thinking that there is a competition between them, they simply go on controlling politics to get access to uh, you know the wealth of the people. For example, the Krishna Godavari gas. For example, the coal deposits in Madhya Pradesh and Maharashtra. There are so many in Bihar, in Orissa. Sometimes when I visited Orissa about 4 years ago, believe me, I found the entire Orissa being ripped open for bauxites, for iron ore, for coal, as if there is no tomorrow. And then where are they going? The natural resources are simply being exported. And that has a great impact on the rivers that flow through these very delicate ecosystems. Now, what is it that we should be doing now to protect the rivers of India? First of all, there should be transparency in the public policies which deal with the rivers. As rightly pointed out, Kaleswaram, in my opinion also, it is one of the biggest loot that ever happened in a democracy. And who gets what, when, and how is the name of a book where the author's name is Harold Laswell. In the case of Kaleshwaram also, I really don't know who got what means how much money, when, and how. A nexus of the engineers, the political parties, right, and the contractors. ultimately resulted in one of the biggest disasters, but leading to a catastrophe. Now the question is, still the people of India do not know where this money went. The system is so opaque. అది కనపడదు లోపల ఏమైతుందో పరద ఉన్నది మొత్తం. You can't, the greatest of the social scientists also will not be able to penetrate beyond one layer. So అందుకే అది సాధ్యం కాదు. Because that protective shield of the present model of development worldwide. I'm not blaming India alone. I am criticizing the present model of development in Australia, in Canada, in everywhere. Russia, China, everywhere it is the same story. China also succeeded in producing some of the richest of the corporates. Soviet Russia, former Soviet Russia, today's Russia has a huge list of the what we call the rich. They have their own Adanis and Ambanis. So this is happening. But then where are we the people? If we open the Constitution of India, we think we are powerful. Where are we today? We have been bypassed in all respects. So talking about the rivers and looking at our children, not only in my home, when we go to the schools and colleges, the generations after us, the young people, and the generations to come to be born in this country or on this planet Earth, believe me, they are doomed. వాళ్ళకి ఏం మంచినీళ్ళు కూడా దొరకవు. ఇప్పటికే భారతదేశంలో మన అభివృద్ధి పేరు మీద మనం చేసిన కథలకు దేర్ ఈజ్ నాట్ ఏ సింగిల్ రివర్ ఇన్ దిస్ కంట్రీ. ఒక్క నది నీళ్లు కూడా పరిశుభ్రంగా లేవు. మేము చిన్నగా ఉన్నప్పుడు వాగులకి వెళ్ళి ఇట్లా చేతిలో ఇట్లా నీళ్ళు తీసుకొని తాగినాం. మరి ఇప్పుడు ఏంది ఆ తాగే పరిస్థితి ఉందా? So what is it that we are going to give to the next generation or the coming generations? That is the real property. The peculiar thing about Telangana is the loot of the sand. వాగులకెళ్ళి ఇసుక మాయమవుతుంది. దెన్ గుట్టలే మాయమవుతున్నాయి. ఫారెస్ట్ లో ఉన్న బెస్ట్ ట్రీస్ అన్ని పోతున్నాయి. వీళ్ళు ఏందో ఏరియల్ వ్యూ అవి ఇవి తీసుకొని ఆడ మనుషుల దాన్ని ఏమంటారు ఇన్వేజివ్ స్పెషీస్, ల్యాంటైనా ఇటువంటివి కొన్ని ఉంటాయి. ఆ విత్తనాలు పడే మొలుస్తాయి అండ్ దే ఆర్ ఇంజూరియస్ టు ది హెల్త్ ఆఫ్ ద ఫారెస్ట్ ఇట్ సెల్ఫ్, టు బయోడైవర్సిటీ. ఆ కాంగ్రెస్ ఇక మీద నుంచి చూసి ఆ వర్షాకాలంలో ఫోటోలు తీస్తారు, అది గవర్నమెంట్ ఆఫ్ ఇండియా ఫారెస్ట్ డిపార్ట్మెంట్ పంపుతారు, ఆ తిక్కోళ్ళు వీళ్ళకి అవార్డ్స్ ఇస్తారు. I mean, where are we, whom are we trying to fool? Come on, let us evaluate the real forest. ఒక్కటి కూడా పనికొచ్చే చెట్టు లేదు. ఎవ్రీ డే రెడ్ శాండర్స్, ఎర్ర చందనం స్మగ్లింగ్. I don't know who gets what, when and how, there also. So anyway, the problem is very serious. And lastly, I can tell very clearly that in spite of the Water Act of 1974, 72 లో Stockholm Conference, 74 లో Water Act, 76 లో Pollution Control Board వస్తే ఇప్పటి వరకు ఆ వాటర్ యాక్ట్ ఇంప్లిమెంట్ చేసే పీసీబీ దాని పర్ఫార్మెన్స్ ను ఎవాల్యుయేట్ చేస్తే ఇండిపెండెంట్లీ, I think they will all the PCB officials will be behind the bars. You know why? Because what they were supposed to do, they never did. This is dereliction of duty. America, it's a big crime. In all democracies, it is a big crime. People are paying, this poor country, ee desha peda prajalu vallaki jeetam istam. ఆ జీతం తీసుకుంటారు, దెన్ ఐ డోంట్ నో, దే డోంట్ డూ ద జాబ్ దే ఆర్ ఎక్స్పెక్టెడ్, అండ్ అల్టిమేట్లీ All the water bodies in all the lakes are contaminated, water bodies are contaminated. Sometimes, as a political scientist, I get a doubt whether the political system of India, whether India is a failed states. మనం కూర్చొని మాట్లాడుకోవాలి కదా. That is, we the people need to introspect. ఒట్టిగానే గప్పాలు కొట్టుడు కాదు. India has produced one Adani or one Ambani. Who the hell is bothered? I will be happy if there is no, if the poverty rate in this country comes down drastically. I'll be happy when the essential needs of the poorest of the poor are taken care of. I'll be happy if the government functions as per the rising aspirations of the teeming millions of people in this country, according in the language of Myron Bina. అది కానీ ఒట్టిగానే ఒకరిద్దరిని రిచ్ పీపుల్ చూపించి ఇండియా ఇస్ డెవలపింగ్ అని మాట్లాడే జర్నల్స్ టీవీ ఛానల్స్ కూడా ఉన్నాయంటే I think we all should hang our head in shame. And lastly, one point, we will never succeed. Environmental protection will continue to be on paper. Nothing is going to happen till at least we have an independent, autonomous environment protection authority. EPA లేని దేశం India, we are trying to enter the Security Council saying that we are the second largest populated country or the third largest or fourth largest economy. ఇవన్నీ మాట్లాడుతున్నాం కానీ అరే with what face are we going to enter the Security Council? వాళ్ళు ఎవడన్నా అడిగింది అనుకో, come on, what are the wonderful institutions that you have created? Democracy అంటే strong institutions. Even the election commission is not strong enough in this country. We don't have EPA, and with what face are we planning to enter the Security Council? So we have to, the time has come. 75 years of India's independence, fine. Then now, it is the time to introspect, to evaluate. అసలు మనం ఎటు పోతున్నాం ఒకసారి కూర్చొని మాట్లాడాలి కదా. ప్రజలు కూడా పైసలు తీసుకొని ఆ ఓటింగ్ రోజు తిని తాగి ఓటేస్తే అదే నాట్ కాంప్రమైజింగ్ ఆన్ దేర్ ఫ్యూచర్. ఇంకా వాళ్ళు ఎన్నడూ మేల్కొంటారో చూడాలి. వీ హ్యావ్ బీన్ ట్రయింగ్ టు అవేకెన్ దెమ్. సో విత్ దిస్ ఐ థ్యాంక్ మై ఫ్రెండ్ శివప్రసాద్ రెడ్డి గారు అండ్ my friend, long time, lifelong friend Subbarao Garu for the wonderful opportunity given to me.
Yeah. Let us wind up if Subarna wants to wind up, and because I would like to add only two aspects here. I think the experienced gurus have very clearly come out. Are we going to celebrate the World River Day, which happens every year, or are we going to pass condolences on the killing of river culture? People do not understand. River means water, a precious element in your body. Humans have more than 80% of water in them, inside them, in their bodies. You have to think. The water outside and water inside your body. It is a vital element to continue your life. If there is no water in your body, you are gone. Similarly, if there is no water on the mother Earth planet is gone. That means there will be nothing. So you want to land in such a state, such a vital element of water, nature has gifted us. And I'm very sorry, I've been listening to both Subbarao Garu and Professor Purushottam Reddy Garu. The way they have narrated how it takes its birth with a small spring forcing itself from the hillocks, and how it merges with the ocean as if it's the old age, so beautifully described, and what it does in between, and how it connects the cultures, boundaries apart. They say global village. That is all nonsense. I will say the global aspect is with the river culture, environment. This is global. This should go global, not your global villages, industrialization, and that loot. No, these are the precious natural resources, and this natural resource belongs to every citizen. Citizens world over should understand that this resource belongs to every citizen. We are the bosses, but who is looting us? Corporates, supported by government policies and echoed by the same funded media created by corporates and the political parties. That is the basic reason why we are into this doomsday celebration of the World Rivers Day. Two things: mass awareness, right? We call Kanyakumari to Kashmir. I will say from Kerala to Himalayas. Western Ghats are there in Kerala. What is happening? In the name of mining, you have seen how the landslips happen, and you have seen because of the change of the ecological balances and the climate, rivers flooding happens. The very next day, rivers get become dry. Why? This phenomena is there in front of you. What is happening at the ocean front? See the waves. What are they happening? What is happening to them? Are we not responsible? Why are we allowing loot of our natural resources? Why are we allowing mining in Western Ghats? Same similar way, same thing is happening in the Himalayas. All these corrupt politicians. The other aspect is first is lack of awareness among the citizens. The second aspect is corruption. Is the biggest scourge of the any democracy. All these corrupt elements, they want to make quick buck, or else the money which has been earned through corrupt means they are going to invest in Himalayan ranges in the form of power projects. What is happening? It is destroying the ecological balance there. Next comes the biodiversity, and see the landslips which are happening. Entire hillock came down today, yesterday, because of these fellows' greed. And the governments there in Uttarakhand and those regions, northeastern belt, they're happily welcoming these fellows with corrupt money, because if Telangana, if they do something, they will be caught as they have done in Kaleswaram. Uttar rulers, they used to take this money and pump into those northeastern power projects, Himalayan ranges power projects. Now they have destabilized the entire Himalayan ranges. Now you see what is happening with river Ganges and all those things. Are we not responsible? That is why the awareness, जानकारी और जागरूक होना, अदरवाइज भ्रष्टाचार से हमको खत्म कर देंगे. जब हमारी नदी, हमारी पानी की संपदा नष्ट हो जाएगी, आप क्या पियोगे? क्योंकि आपके जिस्म में 80% से ज्यादा पानी है. बिना पानी के आप जी सकते हो क्या? इसी तरह बिना पानी के हम जी सकते हैं क्या? क्या हमारी धरती माँ जी सकती है क्या? हमारी नदियों को इस तरह लूटा जा रहा, क्यों हम चुपचाप है? सोचिए आप. आपके जिस्म में पानी है, बिना जिस्म के आप जी नहीं सकते. उसी तरह पर्यावरण में नदियां जो है उसी महत्व से है. अगर नदी गायब हो गई, पर्यावरण खत्म हो जाएगी, धरती माँ खत्म हो जाएगी. जिस तरह हम बिना पानी के जिस्म नहीं जी सकता. నీళ్లు లేకుండా మనం బ్రతకగలమా? మన శరీరంలో 80% పైన నీళ్లు. అవే నీళ్లు పైన మన నదుల ద్వారా వచ్చేటువంటి ప్రకృతి సహజ సిద్ధమైనటువంటి నదుల ద్వారా వచ్చేటువంటి నీరును, ఆ నదులను, ఆ గొలుసుకట్టు చెరువులను, ఆ నాలాలను కబ్జా చేసుకుంటూ పోయి, లేక దుర్మార్గంగా వచ్చిన డబ్బుతో, అవినీతి డబ్బుతో నార్త్ ఈస్టర్న్ రీజన్స్ లో ప్రాజెక్టులు, ఇక్కడ కాళేశ్వరం చూసాం, మూసీని ఏ విధంగా 111 జీవో తీసుకొచ్చి డబ్బుల కోసం లూటీ చేస్తా ఉన్నారు. కృష్ణానదిని ఏ విధంగా పరంగా పెట్టారు. మనకున్న సహజ సిద్ధమైనటువంటి, ప్రకృతి సహజ సిద్ధమైనటువంటి వనరుల దోపిడీ జరుగుతుంటే మనం మాట్లాడకపోవడం కేవలం ఎన్నికల్లో కొన్ని డబ్బులకు అమ్ముడుపోయి మందు సీసాలకు అమ్ముడుపోయి ఎవరో స్వార్థపరులు ఇచ్చే కొన్ని తాయిలాలకు అమ్ముడుపోయి మనం రేపు పొద్దున మన పిల్లలకు ఏమిస్తాం? ఇక్కడనే దీన్ని అంతం చేద్దామా? ఆలోచన చేయండి. మనకు సరి అయిన సమాచారం లేకపోవడం, అవగాహన లేకపోవడం, దానికి తోడు మర్చిపోవడం. ప్రతి పౌరుడు హక్కుదారు. ప్రతి పౌరుడి హక్కు సహజ వనరులు. అటువంటి మన హక్కులను వాళ్ళు కాల రాస్తా ఉంటే మనకు అవగాహన లోపం ద్వారా మనకి ఏమైతుంది లేని వదిలేస్తే నదులు ఏ విధంగా ఆక్రమించబడుతున్నాయి, నాలాలు ఏ విధంగా ఆక్రమించబడుతున్నాయి, నీళ్లు లేనటువంటి సదుపాయం లేదా వాతావరణం వేడెక్కి పెద్ద ఎత్తున వరదలు రావడం, ఆ వరదల్లో నీరు ఎక్కడ పోతుంది? నీరు ఏనుగు వాటి దారిని మరిచిపోవు. पानी और हाथी वो अपने रास्ता को कभी नहीं भूलते. Water and elephant will never forget their way. If you are destroying it, they will keep coming back to you and they will take you and our entire future away. Thank you very, very much, sir. Anything you want to add, sir?
No, no. Thank you.
Yeah, add, sir. Unmute yourself, sir. Unmute yourself. Finish it, sir.
I want to give a closing statement that the
Yes, sir.
water that flows in streams, tributaries, and rivers flow in our arteries, veins, and heart. Connect yourself to the river system and enjoy the life on the earth. Make other living things to enjoy their life. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Anna.
Thanks. Thank
Wonderful. This is for today, and we will repeat this on Environment People DRTSPR channel. Do support DRTSPR channel, Citizens DRTSPR channel, and Environment People DRTSPR channels. With such experienced guests today, I think we have made it very clear. Now we leave it to your own sense as to how you will protect yourself and your river system, as very clearly explained. Thank you very much. We
thank
say it is not Sukhanidra and it is not Shubharatri till you become aware and try to protect our natural resources. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir.
thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.